All these years, the girl that he has been holding deep in his heart was Qiao Anhao. On the way back from the hospital, Qiao Anxia pretended to be asleep. All she could think about was of her misconception that they weren't close. How did he fall in love with Qiao Anhao? Sometimes, when you cancel out a possibility, all the problems and loopholes would be neglected. But the moment you catch on and start to ponder, the problems would naturally surface. When they were in high school, Lu Jinian didn't turn up for all the gatherings, but as long as Qiao Anhao went, he would definitely be there. However, the two of them would barely talk, and would sometimes be seated far apart. Qiao Anxia wasn't exactly sure, but in year 3, Xu Jiamu had organized a camp on a mountain. It was extremely hot and humid that night, so everyone slept in the open. When she woke up in the middle of the night to go to the toilet, she seemed to have seen Lu Jinian sitting beside Qiao Anhao. At that time, she was too tired to think much, but when she was walking back to sleep, she seemed to have seen Lu Jinian fanning Qiao Anhao as she slept. On the second day, when everyone woke up, Lu Jinian was no longer around, so she had forgotten about the incident. But now, the pieces seemed to fall into place. That night, Qiao Anhao, who was often bitten by mosquitoes, didn't get a single bite. That night, while everyone was asleep, Lu Jinian had spent the entire night chasing the mosquitoes away from her. Afterwards, when they entered college, whenever she and Qiao Anhao went to Hangzhou, Lu Jinian would always treat them to a meal. But there were several times when she went there alone and asked to have a meal with him. He often found ways to reject her. At that time, she had naively believed that he was really busy from filming. Only now did she realize that he wasn't busy. His time was only for Qiao Anhao. There was more. For the past 4 years, Lu Jinian would often initiate conversations with her. At those times she hadn't noticed anything, but every single time they spoke, he would always ask about Qiao Anhao. All this while, it had been her one-sided wishful thinking. All these years, he didn't really want to talk to her but was trying to find out about Qiao Anhao. If it wasn't for tonight, if she hadn't seen with her own eyes his fury and worry, she would have never found out that Lu Jinian could love someone that much. Or rather, she felt as though there was no one else in this world that could love someone else as much as he loved Qiao Anhao. The hospital was silent and peaceful. Lu Jinian sat beside the bed, staring at Qiao Anhao for a long while. Only when he heard her deep breathing did he finally heave a sigh of relief, his stressed body relaxing. He felt as though he had gone through a life and death ordeal, leaving him exhausted. If it wasn't for Song Xiangxai, if he had been just a little late, she would have been tainted by Producer Sun. Right then, an inexplainable fear and horror started to creep up into his heart, drowning him.